Hello friends, Donna here. Welcome to my channel, welcome to my studio. You know, I love to make rings. I have made a lot of rings. I wear rings, polymer rings. This is a ring, and this is also a class. And you know, I just finished this one. I loved these mandalas, and I turned them into rings because it seemed like perfect to me. Now in that class, I teach you how to use an existing form like this stainless steel ring. It's a real ring. You cover it with clay. And that works out really well, particularly if you're selling your work, you know. Your customers are probably going to want a specific size. Not maybe it's a 7, maybe it's an 8. I don't know. So that's why I would recommend if you're selling your rings, try to find stainless steel forms and use those. But it just didn't seem right to make and design a class where you had one option, get that, in order to make the ring. So I thought, I better teach you how to make an all clay ring. And that's what this tutorial is about. It's about making this part an all clay ring. So let's get started. All right, so let's begin. Now, I have business cards. This is an old one. I used to have a Peak iNet address. Well, I don't even have that anymore. So I used to throw away my business cards. I keep them now because I use them when I make patterns. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ring template, and I had this made. I sell these, but if you don't have this, you can just take a band, an existing band that you might have that fits you, and trace the opening, which is precisely what I'm going to do here. All right, so that's a size 8. I'm going to make, I think my ring size is actually size 7, but take the 8. All right. Now, I'm going to use the actual edge of the business card, okay, to line it up like so. So I'm lining it up here, and I have aligned this line with the edge of the ring. I'm just going to mark right there, okay? And I'm going to do the same on the other side. You know what? I should have actually drawn straight down the side. I think I will do that. I don't make many of these ring templates, but if I'm going to do it, I might as well try to do it right. So just by aligning it carefully, like so. Okay, so let me do that on the other side as well. Just like that. Just like that. Okay. So now I have to do the bottom and I have to do the top. I love this ruler. So I'm going to not make it a 1/4 of an inch, somewhere between, it looks to be about 3/16 of an inch from the bottom of the ring band, the ring opening, to the bottom of the band, like that. You see? Now let's make the top just a bit wider. No, you know what? I changed my mind. I'm going to make it approximately 3/16 of an inch as well. Okay, now what I usually do with mine is I just do this kind of thing. So first I'm going to mark at the bottom 1/16 here, 1/16 here, Let's see what happens when I connect that line to that corner. Now, is that going to be a bit too thin? I don't think so. You see, I don't want to make a ring where the sides are so thick that I can't get my fingers together. Now, these are a little bit thicker, I believe. So from the opening to the outer edge, it's a little bit shy of 1/8 of an inch. So perhaps this could be brought out just a tad, but I think I'm going to stick with it. Let's see what happens. How about that? Should we live dangerously? Yes, of course. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to take scissors, and I am just going to cut the overall shape, but I'm not going to cut the opening. Okay, not necessary. It is not necessary to do that. Okay. And this is the shape of the band. Okay. All right. Now, one last thing I'm going to do is find my needle tool. I meant to clean up my whole studio, and I just didn't. Okay, so at this point, this isn't very sharp. I'm going to take a sharper. I'm just going to use this acupuncture needle, and I am going to pierce basically north, south, west, and finally east, like so. So I have 4 little pierce marks here, and those are my reference marks. I will use them. Okay, so let me prepare my clay, and I will be back. All right, so let's measure the actual ring with the stainless ring inside, and it's just a bit shy of 1/4 of an inch. Okay, I've rolled my black clay through the thickest setting of the pasta machine, and when I fold it over, like so, and we measure it, it appears to be just about the same thickness. Well, I'm calling it the same thickness. So now I'm just going to press it to this tile. All right. Are we ready, Freddie? Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is cut the perimeter. Now, if this were a lot thicker, I would do it a different way. I would be cutting 2 of these quite a bit thinner and baking them, curing them, and then coming back later after they're cured and filling in the area between the 2 cured sides, if that makes sense. But this is not terribly thick. I think we can get away with doing it this way. So now I've also marked 8 on there so I know what the size is. Now, if you look, you can see those 4 little pin marks like that. Now this is where this form does come in handy, because I'm just going to take it and put it right there, right over those 4 marks. And I'm going to do the best job I can at just taking this blade and cutting around and then removing the center. Now, let me say one thing. Let me do one thing here that I think may help me out a bit. And that is to take another cutter, just a cutter. This is actually oval. Doesn't really make that much difference, but I'm just gonna cut some of this in the middle out. Okay, I might be able, actually, as it is oval, to cut quite a bit more of it. I'm not going all the way to the edge. I'm going close, though. And then I will finish up with the final cut with my scalpel. Okay. Because even though this isn't like, it's only almost 1/4 of an inch, it's still rather thick, isn't it? And you know what? I think this is making it so much easier. Okay. All right. So first, I think I will just take, see how this, just cutting with this cutter, just push the clay out. I'm just going to push it back into position. Like that. Because I don't really want it to get thinner there. I just wanted it to be a little easier for me to trim. Okay, let's take the size 8 and put it right over, once again, being very careful to make sure that it's centered and not sort of more on one side than another. Okay, good deal. Now, carefully holding the blade upright, I'm just going to do my best to cut away at the excess and not cut into the acrylic template. Okay. Now, I'm going to have to sand it anyway, so I know that that's coming. Whoops, I just stabbed myself. It's a good thing I'm tough. Okay, so you know what? That's not too bad. I mean, it's not perfect, but I think I'll be able to sand it, and it's going to look quite nice. Okay, now this will go in the oven. And I will cure it just as I do. My oven is cold. I set it to 300 degrees, and I'm going to cure it for 40 minutes. Just trying to make it look as good as it can at this point. So I'll be back when it's done. All right, so the ring form is cured, and it's still stuck to the tile, which is the perfect time for me to sand it. Okay, it's still stuck there. Much easier to sand it like this, to tell you the truth. At least this side. Looking good. Now I am using Auburnet P180. Gonna take it off right away. Now I have to take it off. That was the easy side. This side is very shiny, of course, because I pressed it against the tile. So, not too bad. Doink, doink. My Facebook is going crazy because we opened up the member classroom today. I'm so excited. Excited. I'm so excited. Da, da, da. Okay. Dudes and dudettes. That's gonna sand a little. Now I have to sand the opening, of course. And you know, it's not really that difficult when you go to sanding the opening. Just gather something like this, right? And I'm just going to wrap my sandpaper around it. And I'm not going to try to make it smaller. I mean, larger. The more I sand, the bigger the opening. So it's just going to be something light. A light sanding. Okay. Now, you want to sand it as well as you can at this point when it's not attached to something. It's so much easier, right, when it's loose. So just take your time and do your best job when it's loose. Much, 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 much easier. It's going to look good too. Now, these corners are rather sharp, so I like to just kind of round them a little bit. It's a little more comfy. You don't have that sharp corner. Now let's sand the opening. And you know what? I will simply take my Auburnet P80 and just roll it up around my brush handle. And I can just lightly rotate. Mostly I'm just trying to knock off any stray parts. Just to tidy it up. Okay. It seems to work best if you just kind of do what I'm doing here. I'm turning both the ring and the brush that has the Auburnet on it. Okay, it's not perfect yet. So any place that's not quite as perfect as you want, you can just hit it. Just focus on it and deal with it. Okay. From the Rio Grande. It's not the most perfect thing I've ever made. Might take a little more work to round this side. See right here how it goes straight, it curves, and then it's like straight there. Let me see if I can just round it just a little bit more. No, at some point I might just have to figure it's going to have to be the way it is, the way it seems to want to be. Well, it's not too bad. It's not perfect. This part of the ring process is a little difficult, but it's still kind of like a perfect fit. This finger is about a size 8. This finger is a size 7. I can work just a little more at it, though. That improved it quite a bit. Okay, so let me kind of brush the grit off of my table. Okay, so now let's attach this to this, okay? Now first I want to figure out exactly how I want to arrange it. I'm going to use this little, this is actually the thing that I pick up crystals with. Yeah, it shows up a little bit. So there's that guy. And directly opposite is this point. So let me see if I can just take and attach this guy right there, right there. Now, I've got cured and cured. I'm going to be sticking together, don't I? That's not really the best. The best join. The best join is raw clay to raw clay, isn't it? Now, we can improve the join by adding poly paste, but I happen to think it might be better if I make this even bigger. If I make the raw area bigger than just poly paste here and slap the two together. I think this is going to help me. So anyway, I wrote this through setting 4. Now I'm going to roll these together through the pasta machine. Ta-da! Okay, so let me let's figure something out. How wide is this? I'm an old cowhead. Okay, so I'm going to use this cutter, and I'm going to cut a circle. I am going to take some liquid clay. I'm going to put it on the back here. An old cow never roped a cow. All right, and I want to get at least a little bit of the liquid all the way to the edges. Now I'm going to put this puppy right on there. Dump the lint. Okay, now I think I still see my marks, one there, one there. So let's just align that mark just like so. And is it centered? Looks pretty centered to me. Maybe just scoot that over just a skosh. And now I am just gonna cut around it. I think this is going to make it more secure. I could be wrong, but in my heart, I think I'm right. Okay, now let's just cut. Oops, take this out. Come on. All right, now this time I'm using poly paste. Woo-hoo. Poly paste. I love this stuff. And I'm putting it right down in that hole. That space I just cut. Okay. See, I really don't want this to just pop off of the back. I think this will help me. I think this will make it much more secure. And that's the name of the game, right? Secure. Okay, now let me put a little poly paste on this side. See, poly paste is a filler. It's a filler material. It fills spaces. And, you know, liquid clay just, it will run off. Poly paste doesn't run. It is a paste. So let me just drop this in there. Okay. Really push that baby in there. And that's why I wanted more. I don't want any spaces between that smooth sanded end, right? When I sand it down there. Okay. I think that's good. I think it's good. I hope it's good. I hope. All right, now, is there anything else I should do to make this more secure? The other thing I might possibly do is just do a really skinny little snake down there around it. I don't think I need it, though. If I'm being perfectly honest, I just don't think I need it. The most I might need is to just push this clay, make sure that it's right against there. Now, if I had made this sheet a bit thicker, of course, that too would have increased the surface contact between the ring form and the back, right? That makes sense. So if I had made this thicker, let's say setting number 3, there would have been more surface contact between the cured band and this clay sheet, just because it's thicker. But I think this is good. I'm thinking this is really good, and it looks really nice and tidy. It looks tidy. And actually having a cured piece like this is cured, the mandala is cured, made this process easier as well, because I was able to push this down into the back of the mandala, right? Mandala. This is not Nelson Mandela. This is a mandala. Nelson Mandela was a great man, but he is not to be confused with a ring. Okay, so now let me cure this, and I'm going to cure it in baking soda just like this. And you know, because I am paranoid about clay sort of collapsing, I think I'm just going to take a little bit of paper. It doesn't have to be a lot. I'm just going to roll it around something like this. Okay. Just like this. I'm going to insert it into the ring and let it go. Just like that. All right. So now that paper, it isn't very heavy. That's just a little bit of deli paper. But look, it has filled the ring opening. And it will help. It really will help keep that opening from changing. So let me put this in the oven and then I'll be back. All right, so this is cured and I haven't touched it. I'm not going to touch it. I am going to let this cool down completely before I take it out of the powder. It's kind of unlike me, but I don't want to take a chance of loosening the band, right? The ring band from the top. I'm gonna be patient, and I'm just gonna let it cool. Okay, I'm back, and this part is just a wee bit warm, but the back is cold, and so I can take this out. And that's nice and neat looking. It's very tidy. I like it. Now I'm going to run to the bathroom and I'm going to rinse off the powder and at the same time make it very cold. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, so I scrubbed the baking soda off, and it's still a bit warm, but it's fine. Now the one last thing I think I will do is take take that Abra net. It's here somewhere. Oh wait, maybe I'll just use this. This is my 1800 micro mesh. And you see how this is sharp? It's a distinct corner in the opening. I think it'll help if I just round it a bit. Now, this is going to help when I put it on, take it off, so that there isn't a corner that's catching my skin. Makes it a little more comfortable, I think. And it doesn't really take much. I'm going to have to find the Abra net. Isn't that fun? You know, time to clean my studio. Every time I do a project or a tutorial, my studio turns into a wreck. Seriously, it's a wreck. Okay, I will continue to do that until it just feels good, okay? And there is an all clay band for a ring. Very nice. Very nice. Now, let's talk a bit before we close this session. You know, if you were to do it this way, instead of building the ring this way, you build it this way, then the ring will turn less. Does that make sense? Because if you put it on this way, you're actually holding the ring, the whole ring in place. This way, it can still pivot like this. You see how it's turning like that? Well, just imagine that it was reversed and the wide part was here on the bottom. It can't really turn at all. So if you have an extremely large ring and you don't want it to turn, then perhaps a better way of building it would be to build it like this instead. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. All right, so thank you for watching. If you have any questions about this process, then please put it in the comments or put it in our new area on Facebook, and I will try to address them there. So until we meet again, I'm Donna Kato. Bye.